Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we have an esteemed guest here from Mayhems Musings. It's the person you've heard about so much. It's Calum. Say hi, Calum.
It's me. It's Calum. Yeah.
So today the topic of conversation is one of Calum's favourite films, V for Vendetta. Yes. So why don't you start us off, Calum?
Yeah, it's a funny one because it's one of my favourites, but it's not one that I honestly bring up all the time when someone asks what my favourite films are. But every single time it gets to like November,
No,
I'm like, oh, it's V for Vendetta time, and then I'm like, oh no, this is actually one of my favourites.
Yeah. I knew it was one of your favourites, but it is, like you said, it's not one that you bring up when you mention your favourite films. But we just got finished watching it, like 45 minutes ago, maybe?
Yeah, not too long ago. It's very fresh.
And I had not seen it. I'm starting to think I'd only seen it once because I remembered nothing about the film. And that was a good thing, though, because I fucking loved it. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, you were liking it.
I rated it a 5 because.
Oh, did you?
It's genuinely like, it was something that was just it was so enthralling to rediscover this world and just. I'm glad I'd only seen it once.
It was really, really cool seeing your reactions to things as well. Like when Evie's captured.
Yeah,
and they were talking about. Well, you were like, oh, I love how it's just a silhouette. Like it's just like it's just her against the government sort of thing. Like this faceless person.
Yeah.
And I was like, he doesn't know.
Yeah, no.
He doesn't know who it actually is, and I thought that was really, really cool.
And it turns out it's bloody V.
Yeah, that's an amazing plot twist actually.
Yeah, I
think that's done so well.
It's one that I'm genuinely trying to think of any giveaways.
I was like, oh, he could figure it out here. You can tell it's Hugo Weaving because of like the hairdo. You can tell it's his face because there's enough. Not in every scene, but in some of the scenes, especially at the end when he's like, oh, just give them something, anything. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, that's. But you don't look for it necessarily.
No, you don't, because they set it up in a way where it doesn't. It just seems like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's exactly what they would do if they did capture you. It definitely got me.
I think.
Tremendous.
There's that shot where she finds out the guard is a doll or a mannequin, and then she opens the door, and you know where she is. Yeah. But then when you see that shot of the sort of living room, and there's something the soundtrack does. There's almost like a gong hit or something. It genuinely, I remember that
like a ball dropping.
Filled me with dread the first time I watched it. It genuinely felt like something out of a nightmare. You know how in dreams, how like you'll go from one environment to another? Yeah. And it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense.
But it does in the dream. It felt like that, like a completely different environment. Yeah. Somewhere that was so dangerous and like cold into something really warm with like the grey, and then the colour of the stone was quite warm. Yeah, yeah. And I'm just like, oh shit. Yeah. It's like, it hit hard.
It's really, really well done.
It really is. I like how it leads into one of my other points as well. Like, I love the music. Yeah. I don't remember who scores it, and it's at the bottom of the pile. But like the scene where she goes out into the rain is just it slaps so hard. Yeah, no, and then had the music crescendos, and then it cuts to the wide shot, and you see the lightning and everything, and then there's the POV shot of the raindrop. It's just. That's something else they do brilliantly.
I did notice. I looked over at you, and you were like, and it was like you were just taking it in. Yeah. And I was like, ooh.
But like they splice shots so well. Yeah. Like it's edited really well with she's walking out into the rain, then you see him coming out of the fire, and I thought of this just this time. The contrast between her in water and him in fire is so cool. Yeah. It's so cool.
One thing I did notice is that he brings out his cape and he tries to put it over her.
Yeah.
And then she's walking and he's just like.
He's like, oh.
She just wants to feel.
Yeah, and like she doesn't need the comfort. Yeah, she goes out. It's just man. And then like when she raises her hands in the water, and he's doing it in the fire, and he's screaming and she's crying. I think it's such a well paralleled scene, honestly, because like they're very different. No, yeah. Like she's at peace, whereas he was born
out of rage.
He really was though, wasn't he?
He was.
He is Black Adam.
He is Black Adam.
Yeah. I just think it's brilliant. I think it starts off so well as well, how you can completely understand why the nation has sort of been brainwashed in this way. Because, like, their entire... I think the term is feedback loop. Have you heard of this before?
Yes.
Yeah, so, like, your feedback loop is, like, everything you're fed from the people around you and what you watch and all that stuff.
Your environment shapes who you are, kind of thing,
Exactly. And, like, everyone's feedback loop is rigged, essentially, with the fact that the media... I love that line, how it's like, oh, will anyone believe this? And it's like, oh, we're the media, our job is to report the news, not fabricate it. And then just the shot of the camera behind him, and he turns and he's like, that's the government's job. With the news report happening out of focus in the background.
It's
brilliant.
So good. I also love, even in the production design and like the set dressing, as I mentioned when we were watching it, the fact that all the TVs are the exact same. The fact that, like, there's a photo of the High Chancellor in every house, in every shot of a house, he is in it. Yeah. And it just shows you how much control they have. Yeah. I guarantee you the families aren't even aware of it. Like, no, like on a conscious level. Yeah. It's probably like they probably don't even think about it.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. And I love how everyone can be feeling something, but it takes someone to actually be like, nah.
Yeah.
Nah, that's enough. Because like you see the reactions of the same people. We follow the same groups throughout
the same different households in the pub, and
and then by the end of the film, it's those locations and
everyone's
it's empty.
gone, and it's
so good.
And it's him trying to get them like wrestled back into his grip, but they're already just way gone. It's brilliant.
Sound familiar?
What other talking points do you have? I use notes in my thing as well.
I mean, it's a very obvious point, but I think he's just so cool. Like, he's very suave. Like, I'm not saying that, oh my god, V is my hero. Yeah. But what I am saying is that he just comes off so... He just comes off so cool. He
is. That was my first thought when I saw him, when you first see him in the alleyway and he just appeared, and I was just like... That man owns that outfit. Like, he
pulls it off in the film in a way that no one else could in real life.
Definitely. And the way he uses his knives is just so satisfying.
Oh, the sound design.
The sound design with his knives, and then there's the one shot when he's in the broadcasting network where he goes up to the guy, stabs him, and he just pulls away from it so quick that it's like, it's almost not human how quick he pulls away from it, and it's like he is this force of nature.
I love that bit in the network as well, when like he pushes himself over. Yeah. He's like, oh, it's him, and then when they realise...
And then you just see him like rise up. You see him
just rise up. Oh. With the music as well, and then...
Brilliant. That's so good. Like,
yeah, the action is brief. There's really not much action in the film.
No.
I remember when I watched it the first time, I watched it with a pal. It was October 2015. And the film stuck with me so long. And I went to London on holiday with my family for a week, like a couple of days later. Yeah. And the entire week it was in my head, honestly. Yeah. And like we saw the Old Bailey or something, and I was like,
yes,
you're still there. Oh well.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to expect from it. But my history with the film's a weird one. Like I remember my primary 7 teacher saying, oh, it's a great film. Yeah, never tell... Oh, whoops. Okay. Never tell a 11-year-old boy that your favourite film is A Clockwork Orange, because he will YouTube it and he will find things that he shouldn't find.
And he'll scar himself for life.
And he will scar himself. I still, to this day, find that film very difficult to watch.
Yeah, I remember when we watched it, it wasn't comfortable. No. It's not a film I'm going to choose to rewatch.
No. But with V for Vendetta, like, as a kid growing up with superhero films, it was one of those films that, like, you know, it was rated R in the American Hollywood video rental store. So you would see
back when you were in America. Yeah.
So like you would see it, you'd see the mask, very distinctive.
Yeah.
And like I was like, what is that? That looks kind of cool. Yeah,
it's kind of one of these things that like it just sticks out to you, and it kind of grabs onto your memory, and you're just like.
So genuinely,
I want to know what that is.
Yeah, I think I've been curious about that film the entire time it's been around.
Yeah.
So when I got the opportunity to watch it with my pal that year, I was like, I'm in this, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how mature it was, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like, not that you have to have a high intellect to understand V for Vendetta.
No.
But
yeah, I know what you mean. Like
it helps to have a bit more of an understanding.
It was a lot more. What's the word? Think. Something to do with thinking.
I love how articulate
thoughtful.
You are.
Was it the end of 2015? Did you say, or was it 2016?
Yeah, the end of 20. Oh no. No, end of 2014. So I was 15.
No, because at the time the norm would have been superhero films with lots of wit, lots of comedy. Whereas you go back to this one, it does have a few comedic elements, but it's a lot more mature.
It is very mature. I would not describe V for Vendetta in any way saying there's comedic elements, because there are one or two funny bits, but they're...
The one that I thought of was when he's attacking the...
there are funny bits, don't get me wrong, but it's just done so well. I love how you can see why people are sort of being brainwashed. I think the pacing of the film's brilliant. That's one of my main notes, is that particularly the pacing of the mystery around him, around what the government have done to lead to this happening, and how that worked. Because when it happens, you're like, anyone living through that in real time would genuinely be like, they have the solution here. Cool, we vote for you. Fix it. Help us. Yeah. It makes sense. And that's the scary part, is that they knew that would happen. So they played on it.
And they played into it,
And you're like, ooh. It's so plausible that would happen.
Going back to the mystery, it is something that obviously I hadn't seen in ages, and it feels it is drip fed to you very well, because I remember being there being like, oh, okay, that makes a bit more sense, but come on, give me some more. And then it kept giving you a little bit and a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, not enough to instantly lead you to the conclusion, but it wasn't too little that you were like, fucking hurry up. Like it was just enough.
I love as well how it looks at the start almost like, oh, they're the concentration camps for all the different people, but they were experimenting on people and stuff. But then when he's talking to the policeman in the later half of the film, how he's like, sure, that was their cover goal, but their real goal was just power. And I was like, there was no real objective behind that besides the fact of doing it. That's just so disturbing.
Of just scaring people into submission, and just saying, oh, there's this big problem, there's this big outbreak, oh, we need to isolate it, and there's people that are different,
I always forget this every time I watch it, that it's implied that they built the virus from his blood.
Yes, it is.
They were like, oh, there's something in one of the subjects' blood that we were able to manipulate and use, and I was like,
pretty sure even V says it, if I remember.
It might be him, I was like, holy shit!
Yeah.
They used his super blood, because the implication is he's enhanced in some way.
Yeah, because
he's like a mutant.
The way he throws those police into the wall and then like bashes them with the end of his knives, it's very much not like what a standard human could do, but it is still believable.
Yeah, no, it is. It doesn't detach from reality enough for it to be a problem, or for it to stick out like a sore thumb almost. Not for me anyway. It's just paced so well.
It is.
The reveal of the mystery with him, the reveal of the mystery of what's happened to lead to this. The pacing of the country turning on people. 12 months is a long time, but it's not a long time to do what he did.
No.
And that dominoes fall montage is just brilliant.
And then how there's the one at the end that's just holding it all together. Pluck it out.
There's one still standing, and that'll be him. It's just so good. The music of that sequence as well is just building and building. Because it's so true. He's created enough fear in them that they've cracked down on the people, and the people are like, fuck this. They're starting to actively not like how it's going with the government. That he's playing on that, and he knows that he doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah, so it's just a domino effect. Yeah.
Because the guy was like, he even says something along the lines of, with all this chaos, someone's bound to do something stupid.
And then it cuts to the policeman shooting the kid, and it's just like, and then he just waves his badge, and they're all like, "Nah, mate, we don't care if you're police."
Because if you think about like any situation where there's been serious civil unrest, the thing that it's sparked out over has been something that's happened before. But if we think about what happened in 2020, for instance, in America.
Yeah.
Something that happened there.
Happened before.
There have been acts that have happened before. Mm-hmm. But it took that one.
Yeah.
That people were like, nah, that's enough.
Excuse me, that's not on, yeah.
And then, like, it wasn't... I think a lot of the naive people thought that was... Like, everyone was up in arms about that incident.
Yeah.
When what it really was, yes, but there's all of this
history
as well. So like all it took was one person to shoot someone, and it happened to be a little girl.
Yeah.
And you're like, you fucked it now.
Yeah, you have really
and now
fucked it, yeah.
Everyone's just set off.
Yeah. The domino effect thing again, where it's just...
And all V did was just ship out masks.
That's it, yeah.
Speaking of, the resources this man has acquired.
I know. He ripped up the London Underground tracks, relayed them himself, got a train in there, got all those explosives, manufactured all his masks, got them shipped out.
It's not they ripped up the tracks, he cleared the tunnels. They had filled the tunnels.
Oh, still, what the fuck?
He'd grabbed all of that stuff out, laid his tracks, and then...
It's just him in a Bob the Builder outfit with his fucking tool belt. It's just like...
his DeWalt bag.
Exactly. It's just bends over to see his arse crack.
His burnt ass crack.
Aye, exactly.
And like, how does... I mean, he's been planning this for many years.
Oh yeah.
But how does he get all that stuff?
I don't know.
And it's... I think also that makes it terrifying. Like, the fact that he just appears in the BTN guy's... what's his name? Prothero? Guy in the shower. The guy that's like me, really egotistical, watching his own videos.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. I just can't remember
Prothero.
his name, yeah.
But, how he turns off the TV and he's there. They do that so many times in the film really well. Like, reveal shots of when he's in a room.
There's so many awesome shots, like, when Evie's cleaning the mirror, she's reading out the Latin on it, and then she stops wiping and her hand moves and you just see V in the reflection and it's just like, hello. it's
the other
camera works.
Really prominent one is the doctor in bed, and she's like, it's you, isn't it?
That shot is so flashes. Good.
Have you come to kill me? Yes.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Thank God. That's the dog when you wake up in the morning, like, have you come to pet me?
Yes.
Thank God.
No.
But no. Like, just the reveal shots are so good.
Yeah. And again, going back to his resources, I just thought that he'll just appear and disappear. So I think the fact that we don't know how he got his resources. The government, it'd be terrifying. Because he just appears to have all this.
It adds to how mythic he is.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, he's more than a man, he's a symbol.
Well, he's an idea, as he says, like he's...
Legend, Mr. Wayne.
What was it he called himself? Was it an idea?
Yeah, an idea is a bulletproof.
Yeah.
Fucking great line. That's something else I love about the film, is like this very uneasy sort of bond that him and Creedy have. Like, they're like the same sort of level.
Yeah.
Like, they're very much equals in... Like, I love how he's just like, a man as smart as you will know that Sutler will blame you. Mm-hmm. A man as smart as you will know to have people around Sutler that you trust, that you can give the word at any moment. And that's why Settler doesn't trust you, because he knows you have a plan.
Yeah.
Like, he just knows that you'll have a plan. That's why he's underground.
Yeah.
And how he knows that Creedy needs him and he needs Creedy.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, how he just drags the Chancellor down and he's crying.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, this is the first time we see him in the
Yeah,
flesh.
yeah, because I was going to ask you, but I refrained from it being like, do we ever actually see him in the flesh? But it's also this thing of when you see him being dragged down the stairs, I half expected to lift it off and it wouldn't be him. The implication there is that, like, as I saw it, even, like, the people in the highest leagues of power aren't saying, you can be the face of the country, but it doesn't matter.
I think the way I saw it as well was that he's only ever talked the big talk. He's never actually been that big scary guy because he's on his knees crying. And Creedy is looking at him.
Yeah.
Just saying, like, disgusting. And even when Creedy's killed, he's more just shocked and terrified at the fact that he can't stop V.
Yeah.
He's not scared of dying. He's just scared of the fact that, oh shit.
I wasn't able to, like, I'm not going to be able to stop this guy, yeah.
I've unloaded 2 full... not even clips, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like 2 full rounds of his gun.
And he's just...
point blank.
Yeah, and all his men have laid in magazines into him, and he's just like... Is that all you got?
I mean, V's not fine, but Creedy dies thinking he is.
Yeah, and that's like, oh yeah, that's good, yeah. Where he just has that, like, he dies with that thought, and it's just like, oh, that's good, yeah.
Like, he dies knowing this is not a man, this is something else.
This is, well, it's...
And then he goes and dies like 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
Which is really funny.
He's just like, well, he doesn't know that, so...
I just love that power dynamic between him and Creedy at the end. And then how he's like, oh, but you won't cry like him, will you? You're like me. And you're like, oh, they are. Yeah. You can just see how much they're boiling. Yeah. And like how V, like, just standing there, you can tell, I'm coming for you right now. Yeah.
And I think the way, once they've obviously unloaded all their bullets and then he's just there, like, and the camera's close up and he just looks up, and then
my turn.
And then I think it's really cool how they give his blades like this kind of like what's the word? This kind of like ghosting effect. Yeah. Where like you see it and it has a trail behind it. Like, I think that's really fucking cool.
I think that was definitely influenced by The Matrix.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, it's
bullet time, but with knives.
But didn't you see that it was? I think it was the Wachowskis.
Yeah, the Wachowskis were involved with making.
I knew that, like, because the reason I asked you who directed it, I was like, wasn't one of the Wachowskis involved somehow? But they wrote the screenplay, and they wrote the screenplay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So
I think what that was him moving really, really quickly because he is enhanced. Yeah. And that was like the bullet time effect almost.
Yeah.
That was like the mirage of his blade. Yeah. Because everyone is moving really slowly. Yeah. And he's moving quite slowly and methodically that you can see what he's doing. Yeah. But imagine in real time
they're like yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
Because like when someone's falling, for instance, they fall quite slowly, so I'm pretty sure that's like a slow motion effect.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
To show that he's just so fast.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that that's normal time and everyone's just like...
Yeah, I know. They're just choosing to be lazy. They're just like, oh, this guy's really cool. I'm just gonna let this play out. This is cool. Come on, kill me, come on.
It's like, it's cool because I'll have reloaded by the time he gets to it.
Oh shit! He's like, whoa! It's just the guy sees the blade coming and was like, oh fuck. No.
Wouldn't it be so funny if he was just shit at throwing knives and just the handles keep hitting them? Just like, ow! It's like, damn it.
Oh, that's brilliant. Do you have any more points to talk about?
It's pretty much it, really. I have 1 or 2 more jokey points, but I love the film so much that I don't even like to make fun of it.
We can close out with these ones. Let's go.
We discussed it at the end when the credits were rolling, but at the very end when everyone amasses...
I know where this is going!
Everyone amasses at Parliament, and then suddenly... Like, you see how close they are to the building?
Yeah, they're like right there.
You see the building explode and how big it is. There's no way no one dies.
Yeah, I know. And a point that I brought up is, it's so close to the bridge that it might damage the bridge and then they'll all just fall in the river.
Yeah, it just takes the bridge as well.
Jesus, yeah. Because it looked like he had explosives placed like everywhere because there were simultaneous explosions. So...
That's another point, actually. I would be curious to know. Now, these are like very minor, would you even call them plot holes? But just things that certain people wouldn't like the film because these don't make sense, but I don't mind them.
Interesting.
But how did he do that?
Yeah.
Like, how did he physically plant the explosives?
Tell me if I'm wrong, but
Oh no, he didn't, because it's in the train.
Okay.
It doesn't look like. The way it looks like there's explosives rigged in the building.
Yeah. That's what I mean, because there's that shot of Big Ben where it goes, like, follows it up and then the clock explodes. Like, how did he get that stuff in there? But
I mean, I really don't mind. I'm one of those people that I can overlook plot holes. Like, one of my favourite films is The Dark Knight Rises, which a lot of people have poked so many plot holes in, which I can't argue with. Like, there was one thing I thought of. So Wayne Manor is outside the city limits.
Yes.
We don't see him fly into the city to fight Bane.
No, we don't.
So it's possible he got... No, it's not, is it? When he's on the Bat Pod, on his first appearance, and he goes into the alleyway, and he flies out in the Bat, I think he just leaves the Bat Pod there.
On the tarp and the
in
roof.
like a garage.
Yeah.
And then he flies out of the alley on the Bat.
Yeah.
So the only mode of transportation he has into the city is technically the Bat.
Yeah.
Which is tarped on a roof.
Yeah. That is interesting that you bring it up, because we don't actually ever see, this is not V for Vendetta, but I'm gonna continue. Because we don't ever actually see Wayne Manor at all in the whole siege of the city, but obviously that's because it's...
No, it's outside of it, isn't it?
But it is an interesting point. That, like, they wouldn't, like, that Bane wouldn't have thought to be like, it's cool, let's go pay a visit to Wayne Manor. And then if it is outside the city limits, then they probably would have locked it down. But
there wasn't anything they needed at Wayne Manor. I know that that's how Nightfall goes.
Yeah.
Like, the comic goes that he's waiting in his house, and then the fight, like, breaks through the house into the Batcave, and then that's where he breaks his back, I think. But
yeah, I think so, yeah. Back to V for Vendetta. And
I just love that film.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
Yeah. I absolutely love it now.
He loves it because I love it.
Yes.
But
he loves it more than me, so it's okay.
I'm very influential.
Yes, you're an inspiration to a generation.
I am. To multiple generations.
Exactly. Yes,
the generations I teach
exactly.
multiple generations, don't I?
Your teachings will echo throughout history.
They will. Through generations forth.
Exactly. The legacy will be kept alive. I just heard that creepy noise again through the house.
I know, it's almost like someone's at the door just like testing. Can we open the door?
Yeah. Are they still awake? Fantastic film. And we watched it on November 5th. I don't know when I'm going to put this up, because I've got...
Of course, we need to specify, yeah. I try and watch it on November 5th when I watch it.
Yeah.
For the past, 4 years, I've not watched it any other day. It's only ever been a November 5th day. It's the same with, Christmas movies. There's so many movies like Die Hard, which I could watch any other time of year, but for the past, 6 years, I've only watched them in December, so now it feels wrong to watch them another time.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
Annoying. But here we are.
Yeah. But that's how many years is that? No, 5 years in a row you've watched this?
I didn't watch it last year, did I?
No, you didn't. No,
2020 I did. 2019 I'm pretty sure I did. 2018 I might have done. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have watched it at least once every 2 years since 2014 though.
Oh, there's actually something else that we can talk about. We watched the 4K because Calum bought the 4K.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
Because we have been on a bit of a 4K kick. So.
Yeah. What happened was I got into 4K, so I was buying 4Ks to, start my collection, and then it has grown stupidly big in a sillily short space of time.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool. Let's do that together.
Yeah.
And now we're here.
Yeah, and now we're here with, 23 movies watched out of 107. I did notice that the 4K was a lot sharper. There were some really beautiful scenes.
HDR helped.
Yes.
Yeah, it was good.
Again, I would actually be really curious. We were talking about this earlier, that apparently some 4Ks, because I was telling him that I got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4K, and apparently the first release didn't have HDR, but this one I'm getting does, this new release. But it's the fact that we checked through all 107 of his movies, and none of them don't have HDR, and
I would claim to have.
I would be curious to watch one that didn't have one.
Yeah,
or just like see screenshots. Like, I'll see if I can find ones of the Texas Chainsaw ones, see if I can find comparisons of them. But it's something where I'm like, how can you not? Because to me, like we said, the branding is synonymous together. Like 4K Ultra HD, and then HDR for 4 times dynamic range.
Yeah.
And it just confuses me that that's not standard.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
It is strange. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
No, strange.
I'm no connoisseur of this stuff either.
No.
I can look at something and be like, oh, that looks alright.
That pretty.
But sometimes, like with a 4K, I won't notice it too much. And I'll be like, oh, I don't really notice that. But then I pop the Blu-ray in and I'm like, oh dear.
Like what you had with X-Men.
X-Men was a big one. Like, I watched the Blu-ray and I thought, it looks okay. But then we demoed the 4K with you. And then I was like, oh shit, no, there's a difference.
Yeah, there's a big difference.
And I saw, like, the trilogy's not expensive. So I picked it up and I rewatched it a week after I'd already watched it. Because I'm strange like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
In just the quality, there's a big difference.
It just cleans up the image. It's the same with V for Vendetta. Like, the shots of when they're having their meetings and it's just John Hurt's face, like everything looks sharper and just crisper. And then there was one shot at the start when he blows up the Old Bailey and you see the fireworks. There was one shot in particular that I was like, oh, that looks crisp. But
the HDR really helps to emphasize everything as well. But the biggest one I found was Spider-Man 2. Like when I got the Raimi trilogy on 4K, which I still haven't rewatched yet. I put in the 4Ks and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
They just look like the Blu-rays to me. But then I put in the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like when we demoed the Dark Knight trilogy before I got into 4K. Yeah. To see, is this worth getting into?
Yeah, because it's expensive. It's not cheap. Like, it's 25. Okay, so at its most expensive, it's £25 per release.
Standard release price is that.
If you don't get like a deal, and that's a lot.
It's a lot for one movie. Yeah. I would say so.
But anyway, you're saying yeah.
But
it's a big difference.
We value that, so we do it.
Thinking about it now, like the more we've noticed HDR and stuff, like I think HDR almost matters just as much as the actual negative it's taken from, because HDR can really make it pop, even when it might not look. Because I still thought that looked great, and it probably looks way better than the Blu-ray, but it's an upscale.
Yeah, we should pop in the Blu-ray and see what it looks like.
You got anything else to say?
Just watch it if you haven't watched it and you've watched this video.
You won't have watched
really
it.
Spoilery.
I'll have spoilers in the thumbnail, but But yeah,
just rewatch it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
But I hope to have Calum on for an episode or two, maybe once a month or something like that, maybe more. Or
7 times a week.
Yes, or just every day I'll come round and just invade his privacy and be like, Calum, what's your thought? I'll just extend the tripod up in through your window and be like, tell me your thoughts on this film. But no.
Black Adam spoiler discussion, 3 hours long.
Oh
we love that movie.
Yeah, Snyder cut of a spoiler discussion.
Snyder cut. Hang on. Yes.
Film of the year.
Born out of rage.
Born out of steroids. And a one-man marketing machine.
Honestly. He's an inspiration to all us businessmen.
Oh no, he is. Right.
Fuck's sake. Toaster's ruined.
I'm gonna wrap this up now. Lovely money shot. I'll zoom into that. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this, drop a like. Let me know your thoughts on this film, and subscribe if you want more. Remember to turn on the notification bell, and I'll catch you later. Cheers.